Good morning, good morning, good morning, Atlanta. Good morning, Southeast. Good morning, those of you who join us live at the Daily Huddle. I am honored to get us started. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Mary Campbell. Good morning, Mark, Lori K, Moto G7 Play. Good morning, Karina Rose, Sheila. Good morning. And a very special good morning to America's executive coach, co-host of the Daily Huddle, founder of Daily Huddle, and someone who is constantly positively impacting people's lives. Good morning, Sorrel.
Giovanni, good morning. How are you? What time is it, brother?
Let me see. Hold on one second. It's about now.
It is indeed now. And what day is today again?
Today is today.
And where are you?
Right where I need to be.
And that's life. You know, earlier in private, I asked Giovanni, the #1 transformational leadership coach, that question, and he almost got it wrong. He said, it's right before now and right after now. And I realized, and we discovered together, well, you can't be anywhere but now. And so I'm inviting each of you to embrace everything about what life is bringing, what you have, and what others and what things around you, just the way they are right now. Because guess what? Right now, I don't care what you and I do. It can't be any other way right now. And here we are. Thank you, Giovanni, for being my co-host and co-founder of the Daily Huddle, someone who's committed to giving and creates an environment where others like Sheila Carmichael get to give, and others like Mark Ham, Lori Kay, and Thomas Skaggs and Rose Hampton also get to be givers, and realizing that in a world where we're all giving, maybe there's no taking needed because you just get. So thank you. Thank you and good morning. I have the honor of introducing our expert guest today, Miss Sheila Carmichael. Through the years, Sheila's been using her unique brand of coaching and consulting to steer others toward excellence. On any given day, she's supporting an executive to grow a productive team, encouraging a soon-to-be leader to grab the executive baton and guiding an executive toward their maximum performance. She's going to share with us this morning inside of a question that goes like this. How do you listen to what you say and hear how you do? Sheila's got the experience as a corporate executive. She's trained and coached over 7,200 global leaders. She has an arsenal of certifications and resources to support executive coaching and leadership development. Her work and her experience includes supporting global initiatives to global enterprises. She has developed and facilitated programs for companies like State Farm, VF Corporations, Aramark, Sonoco and Sprint Corporation. Her mission is for each and every client. And this morning, that includes you. If you're listening here in the live studio audience of the Daily Huddle, if you're listening on Facebook, whether you are in China or Timbuktu, Sheila is here for you to leverage your authentic leadership style within wherever you work. You will leave today more engaged in achieving your goals for your organizations, and more effective in your daily performance, and more successful in your career, your families, and your community. Sheila's here for you, and you're here for her. Good morning, Sheila. Welcome to the Daily Huddle.
Good morning, Sorrel. Good morning, Giovanni. And good morning, everyone. Wow. I have to say, when Sorrel reached out to me, I was the one who was honored more so that he would invite me to come and just share and pour into you this morning. I also want to give credit where credit is due, because I wish I could say I thought of this phrase: how do you listen to what you say, and how do you hear what you do? I can't. I have a fabulous peer colleague coach, Lawrence Henderson, who I was listening to one of his vlogs, and I immediately IM'd him and said, "Oh my God, man, that was brilliant. I've got to pour that into others as well." So definitely want to give a shout out to Lawrence for giving us such a wonderful phrase for us to take into our world. I do want to speak today specifically. When you think about everything that is going on, oh my God, I won't even run down the litany of lists. The current state of your business, the current state of just your leadership and how you show up, and then how you're influencing those who support your goals and vision. I mean, can you imagine? I'm just going to pick a number, like 200 different cross points to navigate around your decisions. I'm guessing there's probably like 2 million, but let's just use 200 as our number today. I mean, which way do you go? What do you do at any given moment? You have to be heard. You have to get attention from others, and you have to make sure you're getting the message that they're wanting to give you. I mean, when you think about it, these are critical moments and critical decisions. So, does your team hear your message and understand your vision so clearly that when they hear it, they embrace it, they immediately start activating their innovative thinking, and then they run out there and start executing to get your business to continue to sustain and take off? I mean, you don't know. Some may be perceiving these as extremely troubled waters, which is true, right? That's real. And then some may be seeing this as just another reality. And how do we go about doing this? So it's going to pretty much, people are going to see things differently given where they're at. So that's why the question is so important today. How do you listen to what you say, and how do you hear what you do? We as leaders in the decision room, whether you're the CEO of your company, you're the head of a function, the manager of a team, a solopreneur, wherever you get those channels, you are given an opportunity to drop those nuggets of your vision, your mission, your passion. And every critical moment is a decision making for you. So, because I'm a coach and I'm a corporate, educator, I love to give folks things to kind of take away with them. So what are the tough questions that you're asking? That's something to consider. Also, what are the tough questions they're asking of you? And are there tough answers that go with them? I'm sure. And there may be times where there's also, tough actions that need to take place. And in those moments, I don't know about you, but I know for me, it feels as if sometimes I don't have a choice. But guess what? We really do. We really do. When we think about how am I listening to what I'm saying? And how do I hear what I'm doing? Now, that's really key. Some examples of how you could go about and getting some answers to these questions. Some of you may have heard of 360 reviews. These could be done whether verbally or electronically, depending on what's going on and what you're trying to go after. You also may be conducting, if you have a team supporting you or layers in your organization, and you continue this all the way down, there's this term called skip level meetings, where we're not having a focus group or a discussion with our direct leader, but maybe it's the person above them. We also do these things with our customers, our clients. That's how you're gathering this feedback. Any type of surveys, whether you're using net promoter scores or customer satisfaction or employee surveys, they all give you data points. They all give you feedback, right? So The question is, how do you listen to what you say and hear what you do? The weight of your message, it is critical now more than ever when you think about everything that we're all having to be challenged with and to think differently and the stresses that are pressed upon us. Your influence is extremely key when you're thinking about activating that innovative thinking or helping folks to embrace what it is that you want and to really resonate with it so that you could trust and be confident that they will go and execute according to your directive. So, navigating through these troubled waters, influence is absolutely critical skill for leaders at all levels of the organization, which is why this question is so powerful. How do you listen to what you say and hear what you do? As an executive coach and leadership development consultant, my purpose is to partner with leaders and teams to determine some key ways to do this, the how they're giving their message, the how, the forum, not just, what's said, but in what forums is it said, and then when. Timing is so critical. Is it the right time for this? Should we pause and maybe assess when this will have the biggest impact, right? And then also the one that's the most important is that why. I'm guilty of it as well. You've got a lot of things that you've got going on and you're trying to check those boxes and get everything done, right? But, do they understand something a so dear mentor of mine many years ago said to me that just stuck. I say it with everything. And he would say, Sheila, your impact is great, but do people understand your intentions? That was one of those moments where I had to sit back and, really think about that and ask myself, how well am I articulating my intent for folks to understand so that we can get the impact that we're trying to go for? If you've picked up on little signs where there's confusion or folks keep asking that famous question, I just want to be clear. Can you give me some clarity? That may be a sign of how you listen to what you say, and more importantly, how you hear what you're doing. Intent versus impact. Every one of my clients have seen me use this phrase, intent. Are we articulating everything that's true to us clearly? Is it resonating? Is it landing in the right way? And then impact. Are we clear about what it is, our objectives, what it is that we're trying to go for? Even if there's a change, that's okay. Our employees, our customers, our clients, and Sorrel, you mentioned earlier, your family, your communities, everybody wants to be there for you. But how are we clearly articulating what our intentions are, as well as the impact that we're going for, and checking, okay, we got to check with that feedback. And when we do, our actions as a result of hearing what they give us, that's where it's going to really kick in. I've seen so many times organizations throw out surveys and surveys and surveys, ad nauseum, just surveys. They want to understand how you're feeling about this. They want to understand, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I think it's admirable. I think it's beautiful. I think it's great for folks to see that you have, a need and a concern to hear what's on their mind and what's weighing on them. But here's the thing. As an executive, as a leader, as a CEO, solopreneur, whoever you are, even a family member, if you're open and you receive that message, but there's no follow-up, there's no response, there's no action, even if it's to say, I really heard what you said and I'm giving it some thought. I'm just trying to figure out how to maneuver that into what we've currently got going on. It may not be immediate for us to respond to that, but we will keep that so we can keep it in front of us as we move forward, because there may be opportunities, even communicating clearly that today is not the action, but tomorrow may be. That then tells the person, your team, your customers, your family, that you at least heard them. And guess what? Everybody wants to be heard. So when you go out through today, and whether it's today or you let this kind of seep into your spirit for tomorrow or next week, your next big important decision as your coach and as your consultant to help you maximize your performance and to make sure you get all that you're trying to figure out through these troubled waters, so to speak. I really want you to take a moment and pause and ask yourself this question for those extremely critical decisions that you're faced with. How do you listen to what you say in that moment? Is it coming through the way you want it to? Is it going to get you what you want? And how do you hear what you're doing? Sorrel, I would welcome any questions and open this up to the group if they have any.
Yeah, absolutely, Sheila. This is, it's pointing, you're pointing to a critical skill that I'm now aware of. My listening of myself, like listening to what I'm saying,
Yes.
intentionally crafting or correcting what I'm saying based on two things I'm taking away. Am I clearly articulating my intention? And am I clearly articulating the impact that I want for the collaboration that I'm seeking? So, and that takes practice.
Mhm.
So often I just open my mouth and let words come out. Maybe I'm
Well,
doing that right now.
yeah, we all
At
do.
any rate,
If
I really want to thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And,
As passionate executives, we love what we do and we hopefully are doing what we love, right? So if you've got passion, then there's a possibility that sometimes we're overlooking that checkpoint to, you know,
just
understand what our intentions are to be deliberate with them, right?
so let's open it up for questions and we'll start with Giovanni. Giovanni, go ahead.
Very good. Sheila, thank you so much for opening up the opportunity of the conversation. Even when you were saying the statement, how do you listen to what you say and how do you hear what you do? I was like, I don't understand that. I don't get that, right? I had to really look, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? And as you were opening it up, I thought, well, I don't understand that because I'm not listening. That's why I don't understand it. I'm not really present, right? I'm so used to the only language that I can hear. So self-reflection is not really available for me if I'm not really looking, if I'm not really present. And so thank you for bringing this. And the other thing that I really liked is that you were opening up is there's a big difference. There's a world of difference, like as I like to say, between my intention and my impact, like worlds apart, right? And so how do I unify that intention? I have an old mentor of mine used to say, good intentions often lead to negative impact. He usually said that a lot, right? And I remember that, but today it just kind of clicked today in a way where it left me to look at the impact of my intentions are not necessarily aligned.
Mhm.
And so thank you for opening those up. And maybe as a question for just kind of open things up that I have is, well, in the context of coaching, when you see someone who whose intentions are not positively impacting, whose positive intentions don't have a positive impact, how do you realign? How do you realign a team, or how do you realign someone to be able to catch themselves, given that that's a kind of in some degree, a difficult conversation?
Mhm. No, it's a great question, Giovanni, because in that moment during your coaching session or any conversation, and you're picking up that something that was said didn't quite align with where you think the person may have intended, right? And that's can sometimes cause conflict when you think about it. And so during a session or just in conversation, that are you listening to what you're saying is a really good checkpoint for yourself to go, let me ask the question. Let me be curious about where this is coming from so that I'm not placing judgment. I'm not making assumptions. I'm not misinterpreting their true intentions. And again, we get so caught up in trying to drive results that many times it's a simple question of just asking, just help me understand where that's coming from. Give me a little bit more context. When people typically ask that question, I won't say it's foolproof, right? But when they typically ask that question, they're wanting to understand so that they can remove any of those assumptions or false interpretations. They really want to grasp the true meaning from the other side of the perspective. Does that make sense?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love the opportunity of the question that you just posed, which was, well, let me look if what I'm hearing is reflecting your intentions.
Yes.
So that it allows me to explore the world of someone's intentions rather than my own feelings and emotions, right? And so that's great. Thank you. Well,
You're
let me
welcome.
open up the virtual room for some people who want to give you a little bit of love and some questions for you. Thomas, go ahead.
Yeah, as I look at this and understand the question has kind of boggled my mind for a minute till I could wrap my head around it. Listening to my message and hearing what I'm doing is like, what did that come from? But really, it puts me on a whole new level of understanding where others are and being with them and actually intentionally having conversations that change people from the heart and the very soul and actually create actions that move them forward. And I move with them and grow with them. And it's awesome that I hadn't thought about this, but it really is an intriguing way of thinking. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Self-reflection is always good. When you think about, tremendous CEOs and solopreneurs who have been so successful, they've taken that time to incorporate some self-reflection and evaluate, are they truly coming across and showing up the way that they want to? Thank you, Thomas. That's excellent.
Yes. Thomas, thank you. Sorel likes to say the problem with self-reflection is who's doing the reflection. That's the thing, like as Sorel likes to coach me sometimes. Go ahead, Andrea. Thank you, Andrea.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Sheila. Thank you so much for your words and your inspiration this morning. My question is related to the skills or the common characteristics you've seen in people that are successful in listening to what they say and hearing what they do. Do they have any common skills that can be learned or innate characteristics in their lives that you can share with us?
That's a great question. I think if I had the 5 points to being the excellent person in this, I would probably be, on the beach drinking Mai Tais right now. But I will tell you, there are some commonalities in what they do, right? There are some characteristics. I love when you chose that word. And Giovanni, you mentioned this earlier. They're not only present with the person who's in front of them or the people who are in front of them, right? We talked about whether it's your teams, the community, your family. But, earlier you said, Giovanni, self-reflection, I love the response from Sorel. I would add to that, while you're self-reflecting, how are you self-reflecting? Because those leaders who show up very successful with that, they're self-reflecting in a way in which they're checking and they're asking themselves those tough questions. And they're challenging themselves with even tougher answers. And they're looking in various areas to not be conformed to a norm that's been successful all these years, because today it may not be like that is in the future, right? What God is here, as Marshall Goldsmith says, is not going to get us there. So they're taking that moment and that pause to really ask themselves those things. Like Thomas said, I've got to now rethink the way I'm thinking about what I'm thinking. You know, and they take that moment and they allow time for that. They put pause. They also have a really good set of boundaries, you know, that's so that they can balance not only the work and the passion they have behind that, but the balance for the other things in our lives that we need socially, relationally, you know, spiritually, physically, all those mentally. So we can't just keep driving without having some other factors of balance. There's probably some other tricks and tips that each one use individually, right? Meditation in the morning, meditation at night, yoga, running, bicycling, but they find what's their need to have that full circle of having that space and time and moment to really challenge themselves.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hey, good morning, Sheila.
Good morning.
Hey, it's been a while. How are you doing? Good to see you.
I know you. Good to
Yeah,
see you too, Peter.
Yeah, my question is kind of around and it's kind of encapsulating everything. What are the three top tips that you would give right now, based on what you just said, that we can use as entrepreneur business during this time?
Was breaking up just a little, so I'm not sure if I caught the full question.
Right, let me grab my. Put
There
my
you go. You're there.
Okay, much better.
Yeah. Three tips that you would give, you know, share. It's a kind of little sidebar currently with what's going on with what you said.
Mhm. Give me a little bit more clarity around when you say 3 tips for sidebar.
Based on what you just presented and the whole blending in with stuff, for us as entrepreneurs, professionals, what are 3 tips that you figure? You talk about the spiritual piece, putting together the whole, you know, what would you just off the top, you know, direct?
Well, you know, I wish I had a nickel for every time somebody asked me that. I would say first, just I'll speak for me. Each and every day is a new opportunity for me to evaluate myself and holding on to my beacon and what it is that how I want to show up. And I do this thing every year where I set up what's going to be my mantra for the year. That's just a Sheila thing, you know. And one of mine for this year, you know, was I'm going to continue to stay at my higher level and strive for even higher levels of competencies that I bring, and not really allow the things that are maybe lower or lesser pull me into their, you know, their vortex. But that's a Sheila thing. So I say that to say, to be completely vulnerable and transparent, I think it's important. One of my other coworkers had said she had done this many years ago, and I just immediately say, wow, let me try that. And it helped me with keeping true with my anchors and my values. So I don't know, Peter, if it's 1 or 2, here's your checkpoint list, but the number one thing is to find out truly what you need for you and understand who you are that you're bringing to the table. I would then say, then ask yourself, how is that showing up in your day-to-day activities so that it's authentic, it's sincere, it's real. They're not seeing one shade of Peter today and another shade of Peter tomorrow. It keeps you consistent. It keeps you anchored. And then however you define that, you know, for spiritual, that means for some taking meditation or yoga classes. For others, it may just be a walk in a park on a nice, calm, shady day. But just really understanding yourself and then asking yourself, am I showing that in everything I do? Am I incorporating what I'm asking of others? Am I incorporating that for myself? Easier said than done, trust and believe. But the more you put time, energy, and effort towards it, the more that you will activate your true authentic self. I hope that answers your question.
It does. It does.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Sheila. And we will take our last question. For those of you that have a question that may not be addressed today, we invite you to continue the conversation in the chat on Facebook, and as we invite Sheila to check in every now and then and maybe answer those questions. Go ahead, Corina.
Well, hi, Sheila. It was lovely listening to you. And I guess we all got the memo to wear turquoise today and blue. Um, and I'm an artist, and I have a small team of people that work with me. I have one studio assistant and an office administrator and a bookkeeper who does some other office admin. And something that I was listening to in what you were sharing is like how you listen to others and how you listen to yourself. That was the biggest takeaway that I had. And something that I struggle with a little bit is how do I say this? How to be really clear with like what my intentions are in terms of like giving tasks to other people. Something I struggle with is like keeping a lot of it in my head. And so working with different organizational tools, but just being really clear and being clear with my expectations and managing all the things that I have to manage in like keeping the whole flow going.
Mhm.
And it's something I think I deal with internally. And I don't know exactly what my question is inside of that, but I think I'm more like expressing and listening to what you're saying. And I guess I'm wondering, like, I know you said stuff like yoga and meditation, but any other ideas that you have on how to be more clear and like be fulfilled myself and have them be aligned with like one vision instead of like, this is a bunch of tasks, you know?
Right. The overall arching purpose of
Yeah.
what it is and why we're doing what we're doing. I mean, Karina, that's exactly it. What is your purpose? You know, I love to give people self-coaching questions. So I give you these to take away with. If you understand your purpose and you think you're articulating that clearly for others, then what might be a way for you to check the clarity of your purpose being understood? And whenever I ask questions like that to my leaders and my clients, they just, it's like, I'm not sure, I'm not sure, I'm not sure. And I said, how about asking? How about asking them, sometimes we have a tendency because we're driving, remember, we're trying to get things going, we're checking off all the multiple things we're trying to do. So maybe opening up the question with curiosity versus closing the question with, you got it, go, you got it, go, like a yes or no, right? So we want to be more open and curious with our questions and allow for that to come back. That's like the really key secret sauce to how do you hear what you're doing, right? Because then they'll tell you, you know, and then you can have that conversational dance with them to say, you know,
Yeah.
how does my vision, you know, land for you? How are you interpreting my vision? How does the vision play into your day to day? What questions do you have around how to incorporate this? So now you're acting more as their leader coach versus just the leader, right? Get it done.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's something I could play with for sure.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you to everyone who's participated. And Sheila, thank you for bringing to the party a dose of caring and confronting that is so gentle that you're not even sure you're being confronted. And yet we were confronted today to be vulnerable, to explore and to ask questions rather than say, and to reflect. So we're the better for it. You are being the type of human being who's causing other leaders around you. And I am so grateful for that. Thank you for being here. What are your last words, Sheila?
I know that what we're experiencing today is tremendous, and it's causing in each of us different emotions, different thoughts, different feelings. It's impacting our lives all completely in different ways, and some more so weighted and heavy than with others. And not placing judgment on anything. I'm just saying each of us are in a different place with this, just like how we opened up the session. Taking that time for you is really, really needed now. I know you're wanting to take care of everyone else, but ensure that you're finding, even if it's 5 minutes, to do your own reset around what it is that you want for the day, your own restore of your objectives for that day, so that you can renew and move forward with accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish. So thank you again, Sorrel, so much for having me. Giovanni, thank you. Thank you all. It's a wonderful group, and hopefully we'll see each other again.
That is phenomenal. We're looking forward to seeing you again soon. The Daily Huddle is your home, and everything that the Daily Huddle and Giovanni and I do is yours. In particular, I want to invite you to look at the opportunity to participate in a conversation that will cause a reset starting the 28th of August. Giovanni and I are leading a 3-day leadership retreat entitled Access the Leader Within. It's virtual, it's fun, it's new, and I'd love to see all of you there. So consider this my personal invitation for you to join me and Giovanni on Access the Leader Within starting on the 28th of August for 3 days. If I don't see you there, I'll certainly see you on Monday morning for our next episode of the Daily Huddle. Sheila, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Peter, it's great to see you. Give me a call. I'll put my number in the DM, okay? All right, gang. Have a phenomenal weekend.
Bye, everyone.
All
Have
right.
a good
Have a
one.
good day, everybody.
Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Good
Bye.
weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, Giovanni.
See you later.
Bye, Karina.
Bye. This is the best part when Giovanni rocks out.
Brother knows how to dance.